Gaza and Israel ceasefire has ended as Hamas refuses to let go of their remaining hostages. Hamas has refused every offer put on the table by Israel and the U.S. Hamas should release the hostages immediately and unconditionally. Because of their action, the IDF have resumed operations to destroy Hamas. And once again, the people of Gaza have to pay the price for Hamas' stubbornness. The White House was consulted by Israel about the attacks on Gaza. Let's get into what Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt had to say about all of this.
Well, the Trump administration and the White House were consulted by the Israelis on their attacks in Gaza tonight. And as President Trump has made it clear, Hamas, the Houthis, Iran, all those who seek to terrorize not just Israel, but also the United States of America will see a price to pay. All hell will break loose. And all of the terrorists in the Middle East, again, the Houthis, Hezbollah, Hamas, Iranian-backed terror proxies, and Iran themselves should take President Trump very seriously when he says he is not afraid to stand for law-abiding people. He is not afraid to stand up for the United States of America and our friend and our ally Israel.
Right now, Trump is standing on business. I think it's in the best interest for Hamas and the people of Gaza just to release the hostages. It's not worth all the stuff that's happening to the Gaza Strip just to hold on to some hostages. Trump gave Hamas a limited time to turn over the hostages and they didn't do it, and that's why we at the point that we at now. I do not know why Hamas is calling Trump's bluff, but this is what leads us into our next clip.
Yeah, Sean, good evening. Breaking news tonight out of the Middle East. Israeli fighter jets are currently striking the Gaza Strip. The ceasefire between Israel and Hamas is over. The Prime Minister's office releasing a statement early this morning saying from now on, Israel will operate against Hamas with increasing military force. The operational plan was presented late last week by the IDF and approved by the political echelon. Reports from inside Gaza indicate there are extensive Israeli strikes taking place across the Strip in major population centers like Gaza City and the southern city of Rafah. As this story progresses, we will continue to find out more information and determine whether or not Israeli ground forces are involved. But remember, this comes after a nearly 2-month ceasefire that went into effect in mid-January and saw dozens of living hostages freed from Hamas captivity. President Trump's Middle East envoy, Steve Witkoff, has been working overtime in the region, ferrying messages back and forth, not only between Tel Aviv and Washington, but also in cities like Doha and Cairo. The Trump team was working late into this week trying to determine if they could get a last-minute deal together between Israel and Hamas. There was a plan presented that would see 11 living hostages freed from Gaza, exchanged for Palestinian prisoners, but Hamas was simply not willing to accept that agreement. And clearly tonight, the Israelis have gone back to war against this organization inside Gaza. Again, the latest information that we have, Israeli fighter jets are flying over the Strip, striking Hamas targets inside Gaza at this hour. And Israel's Home Front Command, responsible for communicating messages of emergency to the civilian population here in Israel, says that all schools near to the Gaza border have been closed tomorrow as they are warning the civilian population about the possibility of Hamas and Islamic Jihad rocket fire coming from Gaza. Sean?
And Trey, this on the heels of President Trump's strike against the Houthi rebels and his warning and admonition to Iran on top of the warning that he gave Hamas. They had a very limited time to turn the hostages over. They didn't do it, and here we are. I expect this will get worse before it gets better. Trey, thank you.
I also expect things to get worse before they get better. This could have all been avoided if Hamas just would have returned the hostages. Just about a month ago, Donald Trump spoke what would happen if the hostages were not released by Hamas. For anyone that didn't see this or probably just forgot, let's get into what Donald Trump said would happen if the hostages were not released.
There reports there that Hamas was going to stop releasing Israeli hostages, and what was your reaction? I think it's terrible. Look, I looked at the hostages that came in, and they're emaciated. It looked like something out of the 1930s. It's an absolute disgrace. And I think they saw the way the world viewed it, and they're looking for a reason not to send more because they're all, you take a look at that, it looks like it was a concentration camp, which essentially it was. It looks like they came out of the Holocaust. And what a sad thing. One of them was a young man, good-looking guy, a little bit heavier than perhaps he could have been, and now he looks like he's not even recognizable. Not even recognizable.
Is the ceasefire deal at risk of falling apart?
Look, I can tell you that those people have been badly hurt, both mentally and physically. I'm talking about the young women that came out also previously. And I think one of the reasons they're doing this is because they're probably sending the best. What you see is probably the best because they want to send people that look at least healthy. And that's not healthy. These people have been badly hurt. They've been interviewed by our representatives. They've been interviewed by Israeli representatives, and they're really hurting. They are really hurting mentally and physically. And I think Hamas is looking at that and saying, well, it's not going to get much better than that because they probably send out their best as a representative, and they've got more to send out, and they probably feel that they can't do that because it's not going to make them look very good.
Is the ceasefire delay that, sir? Should the ceasefire then be off?
Well, I would say this, and I'm going to let that because that's Israel's decision, but as far as I'm concerned, if all of the hostages aren't returned by Saturday at 12 o'clock, I think it's an appropriate time. I would say cancel it and all bets are off and let hell break out. I'd say they ought to be returned by 12 o'clock on Saturday, and if they're not returned, all of them, not in drips and drabs, not 2 and 1 and 3 and 4 and 2. Saturday at 12 o'clock, and after that, I would say all hell is going to break out. And I don't think they're going to do it. I think a lot of them are dead. I think a lot of the hostages are dead. I think it's a great human tragedy what's happened, how people can be that mean to do. I mean, the one guy was laughing when a hostage he thought his family was alive, found out the family was dead, and his captor, so to speak, started laughing because he thought it was so funny. You know, this is a different group of people. No, I would say Saturday at 12, we want them all back. I'm speaking for myself. Israel can override it. But from myself, Saturday at 12 o'clock, and if they're not here, all hell is going to break out.
Trump said, and I quote, if the hostages are not released, all hell is going to break out. And that is clearly what started to happen last night. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. And if you didn't subscribe, make sure you subscribe, like, and leave a comment to help me with my daily fight with the algorithm. And I'll see y'all back in our next video.